Wesley McCammon, and this is a completely random classic episode review. So I downloaded this app that's a number generator on my phone, and basically, you can see it there. And so basically I put in a maximum number, and it's going to spin me out a random number. And so there are 159 classic episodes. TV movie, that would be 160. So if it comes up on a classic episode that is not in existence, then I'll choose again. But let's just put in, let's see what we get. All right, episode 117. So now, let's go to the movie collection and find out what episode number 117 is. Be right back. I'm back, and episode 117 is Castrovalva, Peter Davison's first story as the Doctor. So according to the official synopsis, it says, the Doctor defeats the Master. I don't have my glasses on. The Doctor defeats the Master's plans to hold the universe to ransom, but at a high personal cost. After plummeting from the Pharos Project telescope, the Doctor regenerates. The time travelers escape the Master's clutches, but the Doctor's regeneration is failing, and Adra goes missing in the depths of the TARDIS. Only Nyssa and Tegan can save the day by steering the TARDIS to the city of Castrovalva, renowned for its healing powers. But evil lurks at the heart of this simple paradise. And just so you can get an idea of what the box art looks like. So this is the front cover. I'm going to try to do it as glare-free as possible. Really good cover. And the spine. I suppose I should do it the right way. There you go. And then, of course, the back cover. I'll do that a little closer, so you can see that it is episode 117. Okay, and so my quick review of this episode. To me, the first episode is really intriguing. It's interesting to see Peter Davison's take on the role, especially following Tom Baker, who, obviously, Tom Baker is my favorite Doctor. And so it was interesting to see a different person, number one, wearing his clothes, and then number two, performing it. I think Castrovalva has some great potential. It had some great lines in the first episode. It was just hilariously funny to me to see Peter Davison impersonate the other Doctors. Not far now, Brigadier. When I say run, run. That sort of thing. And then Peter Davison has some great moments as well. One of my favorite ones is when Tegan, I guess, is punching buttons or whatever, and the TARDIS goes to the side, and I think Nyssa is pushing him in his wheelchair, and after they, fake one of those sideway turns, he said, "So this air stewardess woman is flying the TARDIS, eh? Well, I wish her the best of luck." That's a great line. And then it's interesting to go from the Doctor who is having trouble to inside the Zero Room when he's like at his doctorish self, if that makes sense. When he starts making sense, I think that's a really good transition that they do there. Then we leave episode 1, and then we get to Castrovalva. The concept is great. The idea, I think, is there. But to me, this is when this episode starts going downhill to me. I'm not a really big fan of the second part. Now, don't get me wrong. It's still interesting. It's still a pretty good episode. It's a good conclusion to this this trilogy that we start with Keeper of Traken, and then Legopolis, and then Castrovalva. It's a good conclusion to that. Parts of it are really, really silly. I mean, I suppose you can argue that the Master has a TARDIS. After Legopolis, he could have went back in time and set all of this up ahead of time. It just, to me, just stretches the imagination that he had all of these extra plans set up. So apparently he knew that he was going to fail in Legopolis, and he had all this as a backup. Probably not. So it just stretches the imagination a little bit too much to believe that all this was actually his master plan. That he had all these, backup, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. I don't think what we know of the Master shows him to be that well thought out. Maybe so. I don't know. we start getting the idea that this master is just a disguise artist. Although I don't think in any time that he's played this disguise he comes across as very convincing. The Portreeve, it was pretty easy to see through that. I mean, another example in Time Flight where he wears that awful Chinese thing. So here I think that he does a bit better, and it does make sense for him to be in costume here, whereas I don't think it did in Time Flight. And then we come to the, we find out that this world is kind of collapsing, and I thought it was really interesting to show that the Portreeve's house is in different places, but it's actually the same place. And then all the running around in Castrovalva, that was kind of interesting. It wasn't, for the time it was done okay. It just got kind of redundant to be running around everywhere. And it was interesting that the Doctor couldn't make sense of it at first. He understood what was going on, but he couldn't express it. He was, the regeneration has him confused. I think it was great that they saved Adric, but I'm telling you, if the Master could have just done it without just taking away a few, my web, that was awful. It's just cringing to this day for me to listen to him go, my web. It's crazy. It's awful. I love the funny story about him having too much alcohol, and that scene at the very end where they're running back to the TARDIS. He has to take a little break because he gets a little sick. And then had a nice little ending, and so then we had Peter Davison as the Doctor. Overall, I think it's a great beginning episode. Well, I shouldn't say great. It's a good beginning episode. But you have to look at the beginning episodes. There were so many really good beginning episodes. I mean, Spearhead from Space is good. Robot is good. From what I've heard of Patrick Troughton's first episode, it was good. You really haven't got a bad first episode of a Doctor until you get to Twin Dilemma, which is just... It's hard to even call that Doctor Who. So where does it rank in those things? Castrovalva was one of the first regenerations I saw. Because my PBS station in America started with Tom Baker, of course, and it played through Tom Baker to Peter Davison. And so the first actual regeneration I saw on screen was the one in Legopolis, and then picking it up in Castrovalva. So it's kind of one of those things that I talked with the Geek's Handbag about. It's one of those guilty pleasure things that you don't want to give it a bad rating because it brings back so many childhood memories, and you love the episode because of that. And so I don't know that I might be a little biased here, but I probably would give this a 7 out of 10. If I gave it a rewatchability score, I'd actually score it pretty high rewatchability. I'd probably say about 70% likely that I would actually rewatch this again. I have watched it several times, especially when I watch them in a row. Like when I do this, I like to watch the whole box set, and I'm not sure how it was released in other parts of the world, but in the United States it was given, Keeper Truckin', Legopolis, and Castrovalva in a box set. New Beginnings box set, I believe is what it's called. So yeah, it's pretty likely that I watch it again because I like watching all three of those stories, and I feel like if I don't watch Castrovalva, I miss the end of it. So I love Keeper Truckin'. I like Legopolis. I tolerate Castrovalva. But I watch it because it's part of that box set, and it's kind of the conclusion of that 3-episode arc. So yeah, that's my official review of Castrovalva, my short, random review. So if you like these, I'll get my number generator going, and we'll do some more random episode reviews. Anyway, thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. What's my channel? Oh yeah, Pisgah Science. Make sure you listen to Doctor Who Fan Audio Adventures, one episode released every month in the season from now until December when the Christmas special comes out. We're going to take a short break in January, and then we'll pick back up after that in February, releasing series 2. Make sure you go to my Facebook page at the official Pisgah Science or Pisgah Science, or you could just look up my name. Send me a friend request. I don't mind. At Twitter, it's Pisgah Science 2. Instagram is RLWRM. Snapchat is Pisgah Science, PisgahScience.com. I'm pretty much Pisgah Science everywhere, so feel free to look me up on social media. And like this video, make sure you subscribe to Pisgah Science, and make sure you subscribe to Whovians Assemble. Okay? Awesome. Thanks for watching. My web.